Welcome back. This is Live from Paris on France 24. I'm Laura Baines and I'm joined in the studio by James Creedon.
Good evening, Laura.
Good evening, James. It is time for Media Watch.
Yes.
Now, bit of introspection, bit of navel gazing. That's quite...
they do a lot of that, don't they?
A lot of that does go on here in France. But today, we're quite a doomy outlook, particularly the state of France.
That's right. Now, what they've done is, I mean, already, and we'll have a look at this in a little while, you've got the afternoon paper Le Monde saying after Greece and Italy, is France next to lose its AAA in this ongoing domino effect that's almost unstoppable.
Go bankrupt.
Exactly. So, and they're talking about how France's debt is almost as big as Italy's, and France is the country which still has its AAA rating with the biggest amount of debt. So of the countries, it still has AAA, biggest debt. But actually, it's the outside opinion that is more interesting in some respects. Let's have a look at Courrier International. It comes out on a Wednesday. It takes articles from the world's press and translates them into French, and it's all very gloomy for France, the country of Louis XIV, Napoleon, and Charles de Gaulle, which might see itself as Europe's natural leader. Well, France's hour of truth is coming. That's the opinion of Prospect magazine in the UK. They say increasingly France is playing second fiddle to Germany. For Barack Obama, Berlin is his first stop in Europe now, not Paris. I'm not sure if that's necessarily the case, but that's their point of view. France no longer has the same weight in the EU as it had. They say lots of projects that Sarkozy haven't really worked out, like the Mediterranean Union, which was a sort of a bid to bring North African countries into a union with Southern European countries initially. That hasn't worked out.
Didn't really go anywhere, did it?
It didn't. And so a lot of his projects haven't really got off the ground. They're also saying the problem goes beyond Sarkozy himself. It's a problem with the Fifth Republic, this very centralised system which was brought in by Charles de Gaulle, a very sort of strong presidential system that doesn't suit every president.
We're not looking at another revolution, are we, James?
Well, not just yet, but more than two articles, including this one in El País, said, look, this is a dusty, antiquated, outdated model for politics. Indeed, many say that it's a sort of a throwback to a monarchical system of doing things. They're saying that in Spain. They're saying the French just north of the border, they're a bit dusty, a bit antiquated and a bit outdated. And the Austrian paper, there's an Austrian paper as well, getting their spake in, called Courier, and they're saying really that the French are increasingly looking to the German model. Sarkozy himself said in a recent television interview that France is trying to bring itself into line with German fiscal policy. So yes, it's a lot of doom and gloom in this particular edition of Courrier International about France.
Still got the best bread.
Right.
All right.
Yes, indeed. And as I said, Le Monde, very doomy and gloomy as well today. So it's not looking good.
Okay, now Dominique Strauss-Kahn, he just doesn't go away, does he? He's back in the news again. What has he done this time?
Well, what hasn't he done? I suppose that's maybe not the best way to introduce it. Allegedly. What has he allegedly not done? Now, this is a text messaging scandal. It's linked to the Carlton Hotel affair. In France, the scandal is called an affair. There was the Sofitel Hotel affair, and now there's the Carlton Hotel affair. This is in the north of France. There was an alleged prostitution ring operating out of a hotel in Lille, which Dominique Strauss-Kahn has been linked to, and there's an investigation going on. A guy called Fabrice Paszkowski, who is a businessman from the north of France, his telephone was left behind and picked up by the authorities. The investigators into this Carlton Hotel affair are now picking through this mobile phone and text messages that were exchanged between him and Dominique Strauss-Kahn, because they are actually friends. Will I tell you what those text messages were? Allegedly. June 2009, I'm going to bring a little cutie to some clubs in Vienna. Want to come along with a young lady. That was Mr. Paszkowski allegedly sending a text message of that content to none other than Dominique Strauss-Kahn. July the 4th, 2009, that's American Independence Day, but it seems another celebration of another kind was being planned. This was Dominique Strauss-Kahn allegedly. Do you want to or can you come along to discover a magnificent sex club in Spain with me and with some material? Rather cryptically.
And Silvia Berlusconi.
Who knows? But material, what is material? Maybe material with Silvia, who knows? But anyway, people are trying to figure out was material reference to people or whatever. End of July 2009, the two men seem to be planning a meeting up in Belgium. Okay, got your message. As for the meeting up in Ghent, you'll have to let me know fast what you have in mind. Is it a club or a private party?
So prosecutors say they were up to some mischief, those two.
Absolutely. And the whole story of that phone is in itself weird. Le Point looks into that. Allegedly, it was left behind at a private party. Dominic Strauss-Kahn picked it up and gave it back to his friend Paszkowski before the authorities ended up getting their hands on it. So look, it's another layer of intrigue and scandal that Dominic Strauss-Kahn certainly wouldn't have wanted, and he's remaining very quiet about all of these articles in the press.
It's something for the French press to focus on when they're not worrying about the future of the country.
Right, exactly. A little bit more intriguing, I suppose, than economic doom and gloom.
Absolutely. Okay, let's end with an embarrassing story about the far-right leader Marine Le Pen.
Marine Le Pen, she's the self-proclaimed candidate for small businesses and made in France products. And she constantly says that Nicolas Sarkozy and the Socialist Party, they only represent big business, the CAC 40, etc. So it turns out all of their banners, well, perhaps not all of them, but a lot of their campaign posters and bunting and banners is actually made in China.
Oh dear.
So, you know, you would think
put your money
really
where your mouth
be
is.
a little bit consistent, Marine, and as you said, put your money where your mouth is. But in any case, it's just the latest of a few embarrassments that have come out recently for the Front National, where they say one thing and then behind the scenes they seem to be doing something else. So anyway, there you go. Rue 89, left-leaning website, and absolutely thrilled to point out the flaws in the FM.
Nothing like a fact to ruin a politician's claims.
Absolutely.
We love it. All right, James Queenan with Media
Thanks,
Watch. Many thanks indeed. Well, up next here on France 24 is web news, and tonight pollution in Nigeria is taking centre stage as a group of activists take on the oil giant Shell. Take a look.